It happened again.
A Japanese miner taken to the home of a 25-year-old U.S. senior airman and allegedly assaulted.
I'm really not kidding when I say again. This is actually one of the most common crimes on the Japanese island of Okinawa, which hosts 32 U.S. military bases, including the largest U.S. military installation in the Asia-Pacific region and the home of the largest combat wing in the entire U.S. Air Force. Every so often, a soldier or military contractor strolls out of one of these bases into a civilian area, sees a girl he likes, and just helps himself to her because he can. Spoiler alert, she usually ends up dead. This started happening as far back as the Second World War. During the war, Japanese forces would distribute grenades to Okinawan civilians so that if their resistance was overcome by US forces, they could kill themselves instead of being captured and raped by American soldiers, because apparently that was a thing. And it kept happening after the war, notably starting in 1955, when 2 Okinawan schoolgirls were raped within a week of each other. One of them died. She was 6 years old. In 1995, 3 US servicemen from the Marine Corps and the Navy kidnapped, beat, and gang-raped a 12-year-old Okinawan girl, sparking angry protests across the island. In 2016, US Marine veteran Kenneth Gadsden raped a 20-year-old Okinawan woman, Rima Shimabukuro, after which he then strangled her to death because, why not? And if 3 extreme examples from a 70-year sample period doesn't sound like a lot, then consider the following statistic.
I learned that in the past 30 years, nearly 30 cases of sexual violence have occurred, with about half of them going unreported.
Tokyo acknowledged this month there were at least 3 other cases of suspected sexual assault committed by U.S. personnel in Okinawa since last year, adding that they did not lead to indictments.
We're not even mentioning the time when the US Air Force had this brilliant idea of parachuting a trailer from a transport aircraft to the ground outside an air base in Okinawa, which was close to a civilian village. And a local 10-year-old girl ended up taking a falling 6-ton trailer to the head. She died, obviously. And here we are discussing yet another rape of an Okinawan civilian by a US soldier. Why does this keep happening? Okinawa was officially given back to Japan in 1972, so why does Tokyo continue to be so toothless and unable to do something about this? The answer to these questions is also the answer to the question, what happens to a country outside the imperial core when it hosts a permanent imperial military base? First of all, there's a functional absence of sovereignty. Now, Japan might be sovereign in principle, but in practice, Okinawa remains under de facto US military occupation. Okinawa's residents have repeatedly protested and rioted and voted in referendums about proposed closure or relocation of US military installations in their backyard. No dice. Geopolitical interests of the imperial military outweigh the wishes of the Okinawan people.
What we are seeing right now is the redeployment of the marine elements. But we also need to understand that the 7th Fleet hasn't left. The Kaneda Air Base on Okinawa still has, for example, the 18th U.S. Wing and also the 353rd Special Operations Wing.
Second, and perhaps more importantly, there's a net security loss involved in hosting imperial military bases, not a security gain, as the empire would have you think. After decades of acting as a giant, unsinkable aircraft carrier for the U.S. war machine, Okinawa has not only not become a safer place for Okinawans, but it has been positioned without its consent as the spearhead of US military strategy for the entire Asia-Pacific region. And if you're wondering what makes it so strategically important to the empire in that region, then zoom out. Shock, gasp. The moral of the story is, hosting an imperial military base in your country is inviting problems to quite literally fall on your head, and maybe sexually assault you while they're at it. So make of that what you will.